can't wait to Angel to get here. He's my best friend and we're gonna have a playtime. Woohoo! Oh, hello, Angel. I'm your best friend. You wanna have a playtime? We're gonna have so much fun together. Gooey boy, please.
What the hell? Die, you pieces!
Hello everyone, this is Angel Esquivel here. Welcome back to another movie review, and today we're going to be reviewing Toy Story 5, directed by Andrew Stantic and starring actors Tom Hanks, Joan Cusack, honestly that's a hard last name to pronounce, and Tim Allen. The original voice actors who voice Woody, Jessie, and Buzz Lightyear. And also some returning original voice actors from the original movie, and new voice actors that I can't write them down because it's a big list and I don't have the time to pronounce everyone's name. So, without further ado... Wait, stop right there. 91.3 of you guys are not subscribed to my channel. But the question is, why? Well, I have the answer. You have not clicked that subscribe button. So make sure you hit that subscribe button, turn on the notification icon up there, help me get to 3,000 subscribers, and I promise that I will keep uploading every single day, and I will make a new intro to my YouTube channel. Thank you very much, and back to the video. Let's get to the review. So this movie is a direct sequel / continuation from Toy Story 4, continuing the Bonnie storyline, because Andy, is a grown-up, no longer plays his toys anymore, so he gives them all to Bonnie from the third movie. So in the fourth movie, she started off as she was transitioning to preschool. So in this movie, Toy Story 5 takes place like 3 to 4 years later into the future. So now she's 8 years old. She's the only little girl that plays with their toys in an age where it's like in 2026 where kids no longer play toys anymore. She tries to go up to like her neighbors kids to see if they want to play toys, but they look at her like all crazy and like weird. So she kind of like feels sad, and Jessie, who is the main character of the main focus of the story, because since Woody, leaves the group, and now she's the one in charge, especially, and also Buzz both are in charge of taking care of the other toys. So Jessie goes to investigate the other kids, like what's their deal, because she tries to make those kids be friends with Bonnie, but she was soon to realize that these kids don't play with toys. In fact, they're just sitting in their room all day playing with their tablets, because those are two different things. And so other toys that were outside, they're telling them like, don't you not hear, it's the end of the toys, like no one's playing with us anymore. So she asks for Woody for help, and it's cool that they bring back Woody, because when I first saw the teaser trailer, I'm like, wait a minute, isn't this like retconning the fourth movie? I thought he just left, but no, apparently they were able to keep connections with each other. Woody comes back, and this is not a spoiler because obviously this was from the trailer. It's not a spoiler. Bonnie, when she finally got her first tablet, instantly she just got hooked into her tablet just like that, and it's called a lily pad. This lily pad, like the toys, also can talk, and she's much smarter, much faster than the other toys. They're like shocked and how surprised that how fast that tech can just like take over. I like this one line when Woody said like, toys just for play, but tech is just is for everything. And honestly, that is a really like hard line to hear, because it is true. So Jessie, is on a mission to try to like make Bonnie, make friends with other friends, while also Lilypad is like trying to like convince like Jessie, like, no, this is just how it is. Like, if you try to push this further, it's only going to make things harder. So you guys must have seen the thumbnail of the video, and it's it's asking the questions from you guys and saying, did this movie needed a fifth installment? And I say, actually, yes. I believe that this did need a fifth installment. I feel like this movie is relevant today, especially what it's talking about. It really has a good message, and I liked how they used the old animation. Well, like, not the old animation. Well, I mean, they kept the same animation, but just modernize it, and not like the other shit that Pixar has been doing, because Pixar has been kind of testing other different styles, but I just love that they kept their traditional animation from like back then, but just modernize it. The voice actors from from all the actors, they still do a good job, especially Tom Hanks and Tim Allen. They still have the same like voice from back then. I just love seeing Woody back, and Tom Hanks is back as Woody. Another thing that I do notice that like they did bring back like original voice actors from from the old movies, and and also the old characters are there again, like the pig, the Mr. Potato Head, and the dinosaur. Honestly, I keep forgetting their names because honestly they don't really stand out to me other than Woody, Jesse, and Buzz Lightyear. But the only problem with that is that they don't really use them too much. They just have them there just doing a few lines. But it's because mainly these trio are like mainly the main focus, especially for Jessie since she's the main focus of the story, especially Bonnie. And the humor in this movie is really funny, and especially when they were watching this movie, I do hear like a bunch of like parents and kids laughing. It's funny because when watching this movie, because you know how in my last review I did with Furious, there's always got to be that one adult that just wouldn't shut up and won't talk. And wouldn't stop talking. But with kids, they do. In my showing, they kind of did that a lot, especially that one that was like really next to me. Honestly, I did not mind when little children at least like express how they feel for a movie because they're actually experiencing a movie and it's actually kind of cute. In fact, I feel like kids have more respect to actually keep silence when watching this movie, especially the little kids when they're like having a chuckle or laughing when something funny happens. Like, I just thought that was really cute. Unlike Furious, where we have that middle-aged old lady who won't shut up. I'm like, yo, you're a grown-up. Stop talking, okay? But for children, it makes sense for them to like express how they feel for a movie. It's their first showing, and it's a kids movie. It just makes sense. Another thing that I do like what this movie does is that they actually bring back like the original scores that from like the old Pixar movies. There's times where I feel like the instruments that they use, it almost sounds like the theme song that they will bring up from like Monsters Inc. or especially like the Toy Story 1 and 2. I do like that old side of Pixar, and just like any other old Pixar movie, I do like how there were certain scenes that were emotional, especially Jessie's side of the story and Bonnie's side of the story, because it also talks about like them moving on, growing up, and trying to adapt to the world that they live in right now. So I will get into spoilers to talk about more in depth with these scenes. So if you don't want to get spoiled, then I suggest you skip at this time. So without further ado, let's get to the spoilers. For a movie that's like 1 hour and like 45 minutes, we do get like a lot of like side plots in this story, which is actually kind of cool, because in the beginning we start off that like there's a big cargo that crashed in an island, and they were filled with like a bunch of like modernized versions of Buzz Lightyear figures. When they come out, they're first learning their first word, Star Command, and they start gathering things and they make to the mainland. Obviously, that's like a side story, but but later on it does tie into the original story, into like our main current storyline. Jessie, when she tries to figure out how to get Bonnie to make friends, but Lily Pad's also like telling her no, you can't be doing this because it's just it won't work. You're old fashioned. Another thing with Lily Pad, I know that it was advertised that she was like the villain of the story, but actually she's not the villain. She's just she's just like a character that's just trying to help Bonnie, but in a different way. And towards almost like the half end of the movie, it's revealed that I feel like what she was doing wasn't working, so she tries to abandon herself so that she does not harm Bonnie. Also, we do get this side story with Jessie where she revisits the old place where she used to live with her original owner Emily, where people theorize that she's Andy's mom, but I don't know. They don't really talk about that. So she makes it there, and when she sees the little girl that lives in their old house, she believes that she'll be a perfect friends with Bonnie because she's another girl that she sees besides Bonnie that still plays with toys. Even though she still has her laptop, she still plays with her toys. She collects little horses. And this is where I do like this scene where it does get emotional. like not like me like crying, but it's just like, but I did feel like, a little tear like in my eye, feeling like how sad the scene was. Is that when the little girl, wants to like return her old toys like Jessie and what was the horse character again? I keep forgetting the horse character's name again. I do know that she's always with Jessie, but Bonnie was like too scared to like take it because she tries to play this act that, oh, I don't play with toys anymore, because it is sad to see how nowadays this kind of is relevant today, because I do see how kids nowadays don't really play with toys. It's mainly just stuck with their devices, even though they look like they collect toys, but they don't really play with them. It's mainly just with like their devices. Bonnie decides to, no, she's gonna make friends with her, and they start becoming friends with playing toys together. And later she was able to make friends with with the neighbors' kids, to like, hey, we're playing with toys, I thought that was a really nice scene. I actually love how they executed that. Oh, and then towards like the middle, I do see how they actually bring back the side story with Buzz Lightyear figures, and I just like how they were able to tie that together. They were able to find Lily Pad like on a truck that she was trying to like run away from. And what's interesting is that the Buzz Lightyear figures, the newer models, they realized that these are tablet compatible, which means that they're also part drone. One of my favorite scenes in this scene was when both Buzz and Woody were being carried by one of these Buzz Lightyear drones. They find both Buzz and Lightyear, Woody and Buzz repeated the line saying, "This is flying, but with style." I really love that they brought that scene back, just basically referencing the original scene from the Toy Story movie back in 1995. I love that they brought that back, especially for someone like, obviously I never grew up in the 90s, but however I did grew up with 90s movies since I was born in 2002, and I love how this movie Toy Story 1 and 2 were like one of those movies were like a big influence when growing up, because I do love collecting toys when I was a kid. Oh yeah, another side story is that Buzz Lightyear throughout the entire movie was always like trying to prepare himself to like propose to Jessie, but didn't have the courage to do so. But then towards the end, they finally he was able to ask her like, "Oh, will you marry me?" So, and Jessie said yes. They have, in the end, Bonnie and her new friend, they did like this little play where they're getting married. It was a really cute scene to see it. And towards the end, we see that Jessie and Lily Pad finally put their differences aside, and they actually work together and start becoming friends, and to help Bonnie through their childhood. I actually do like this side also on the message of the movie, that it talks about that both toys and tech can actually both coexist. Just like, how I use phones, but then again, I can still, collect my figures, even though they're not really there anymore. But other people, because it's also proven with like the modern versions of Buzz Lightyear figures, they're both toys, but yet they can still work when you use when you download the app to download things. Which it's a really interesting message. I actually loved how they put that in a kids movie. And you as a parent, if you have kids, I definitely recommend you take your kids to go watch this movie, because I'm pretty sure they can learn a lot. Even though as kids, they don't get it yet, but as adults, we can see how strong and powerful this message could really be to, help our children along the way. And perhaps maybe this will get them into watching the original movie. It's crazy. It came out in 1995. That's like years ago, if you think about it. So, for my final verdict for this movie, I give it a 10 out of 10. It's like best animated movie I've seen so far. So in conclusion, don't focus on which one is better or which one's better than the other. Instead, focus on how to have both things and coexist with one another. So that's going to be today's movie review. So make sure to like, comment, share, subscribe, hit the bell notification icon up there. Make sure to follow me on my Instagram page called Thunderstruck1810. This is Angel Esquivel here, and as always...
Right! That's it! I have had enough! Enough! You get out!